All right, on today's show, we're going to explore some important LinkedIn updates that marketers need to be aware of, including first, a lot of changes happening to the way our content shows up in the feed. So we'll update you on that to make sure you can make sure the content that you're making already is going to continue to show up the way that you want it to. Also, if you have a company page that you manage, some big updates rolling out around that. Some AI updates, of course, because it's 2024, and a small update that's getting a huge amount of hype. And who knows, this might be something that's really important to you as well. We're going to jump into all of that right now. My name is Jerry Potter. Yes, it rhymes with the boy wizard, host of the Social Media Marketing Talk Show, a production from Social Media Examiner, where we break down the latest social media news and what it means for marketers like you. Today, I'm joined by Judy Fox. Judy is a LinkedIn strategist, and her course is called the LinkedIn Business Accelerator Program. Judy, welcome back to the show. Excited to talk about LinkedIn.
Excited to be here.
So let's start with the company pages. For people that manage company pages, this just came out and they're moving a bunch of stuff around. So update us on what's going on with all of that.
Yes, it just came out on May 30th, 2024, and it starts by announcing that it is going to be a dashboard experience, saving you time and being able to easily connect with your business LinkedIn company page audience. So it's mainly being pitched as a one-stop shop place to stay engaged, build community, grow your following, comment as a company page on relevant content. So highlighting employees' content. It is exciting. I love that they're like, it's very like, we're going to save you time and we're going to grow your account, which I love to see.
Yeah, well, and I think, anything that saves us time is a good thing. But I think the bigger thing that I see here is, and we've seen this over the last year or so, is LinkedIn is no longer kind of ignoring company pages. They're really giving some tools to turn them into something. So I think for certain brands, there's definitely a lot of potential there, wouldn't you say?
Yes. And anytime that you can update a dashboard that makes it easier to make decisions as a company and as a team, especially the bigger your team is that's managing that page, it maybe would streamline and make it easier for you to join the right conversations as a company.
Yes, yeah, and that's the thing too, is to be able to engage as a company page on some of the other platforms. Facebook, it's been very hard to engage as a brand outside of Facebook groups, which makes sense. They didn't want business pages to be able to go out and just spam everywhere, but it makes more sense with the discussions that are happening on LinkedIn. Certainly, companies are going to want to have a policy in place for the kind of things that the company page says, of course, but that's what, obviously.
I'm excited to see if company pages really do start making more and more comments out on the public news feed because of this new, what they're calling a feed tab, where companies can start to engage on content highlighted for them to engage on.
Well, and I would recommend, like, some of the, some big companies will always sign their engagement with like a name, a customer service name or something like that, which I always like. When I was a social media manager and working at an agency, sometimes we would engage with the people, of course, that commented on our content. And I just always remember there was one time this guy replied and he was like, "Oh my God, the restaurant's talking to me. I don't know what to do. Is this the stove talking? I don't know who's talking." And I was like, that is kind of a weird experience in a sense. Like, the building is now talking to me. So I do like it when they personalize it a little bit.
I will predict that companies that do jump on this, there is excitement behind a brand acknowledging either employee content or people who are brand ambassadors without even being paid to be brand ambassadors. Some people are talking about products and services, and for a company to show up, I think that is exciting. So I will predict if you're early on that, you will actually stand out in a good way.
I love it. All right. Some other important updates to help make managing LinkedIn easier in just a second here. Real quick, have you heard our new show? Several weeks ago, Social Media Examiner launched a new show called AI Explored. And the goal of the show is to help marketers and creators and business owners understand the business applications of AI. It's hosted by Michael Stelzner and explores this amazing, new, exciting frontier in easy to understand terms without all of the complicated jargon. So well worth checking out. Tons of great info in just the first 3 episodes. If you haven't checked it out yet, here's what you can do. First, after you finish this show, search for AI Explored in your favorite podcasting app and check it out. Or you can go to our AI Explored show page now at socialmediaexaminer.com/AI AI Explored. Socialmediaexaminer.com/AI Explored. All right, speaking of managing things a little bit easier on LinkedIn, they're rolling out a threaded messaging feature. So explain to us exactly what that means and how that's going to make things easier, Judy.
Yes. So when you're in conversation in the direct messages, it's normally just chronological, whatever is going to come next. It does now allow you to scroll back up and click or hard press on a comment or something that somebody wrote in the direct messages and reply to that specifically. So I think where that comes to play, especially if you have a group direct message happening on LinkedIn, or you just have a really long ongoing conversation and you want to circle back to something, especially if it makes sense to kind of highlight, hey, we talked about jumping on a call, let's revisit that. And that makes it make sense in your conversation, especially if you're trying to convert to clients.
Yeah, so this is in private messages then. This is
Yes.
not okay, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
direct
we have
messages.
that. Yeah, we kind of expect that now, right? We have it in text messages pretty much and everywhere else. So
That'll be interesting now that you say that. If they're making that feature happen on direct messages, I wonder what might start. But we do reply on messages in the comments in the public news feed. So it makes sense to have that same type of feature in the direct messages now.
okay, hold on. Now I'm confused. Where is it being added right now?
It's added to the direct messages.
Okay.
But you can right now in the public reply to individual messages. That's why I'm saying you kind of now can do it in both places.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. And then this next update was apparently got a lot of attention and a lot of hype, even though it seems like a relatively simple thing, which makes me think it was maybe a big pain point for people. So something about how we can access our saved posts on LinkedIn, like if we save them to be an inspiration file for creating new content and things like that. So what is this update that is getting a big deal made out of it?
It went from 5 clicks to find your saved posts to now just 2 clicks. They have reduced 3 clicks.
Okay.
But let's go over when you are scrolling the newsfeed on LinkedIn, a lot of people maybe don't know this, but you can click the upper 3 dots next to a post and click save. So you can reference that post in the future or really start to gather resources where you're trying to maybe do some competitor analysis, or you want to research what's working on the platform. You can save posts. And now you can get to those saved posts with only 2 clicks.
That's why I think it got a lot of hype and a lot of shares, because people were like, finally, it's just one of those things. But five is a lot. But yeah, it's a really helpful feature. I've used it sometimes as a swipe file for inspiration. So it's like, oh, I can go back and now look at these and go, oh, this was interesting, or whatever it might be. So now, we're saving 3 clicks every time. It's a big deal.
It's just making it easier to find, where did I put those?
Yes.
And because it used to be hard to find, it felt very cumbersome to save a post. So I do agree. It is nice to just click on your profile and go right to your saved posts.
And it sure beats just having a bunch of screenshots on your phone that you don't know what they were about or anything like that. So
that is true.
Some updates are coming to the way that our content is displayed. And I think this is going to be really important for anyone who you have this workflow. Every week we create a carousel. Every week we do a graphic, especially if you do that kind of thing. So what is this new layout that they're playing with, around images and links and everything like that? We got a couple of updates here.
Yes. The first one is when you upload multiple pictures on LinkedIn. Right now, we get one big picture next to smaller pictures. I've seen a few examples of the new layout that shows still one big picture, but now they're showing slightly bigger pictures for the thumbnails and a few less of them. So I don't know what it's going to end up like, but I think the main takeaway is you're going to want to check on what your content looks like in the newsfeed for the next couple of weeks or up to months, especially if you see a drop in reach. The other display I've seen is only highlighting the first 2 pictures to make them much more visible and bigger. So.
Okay. And historically, do you know when LinkedIn makes an update like this, does it change the way that older posts look?
Many times it does,
Okay.
especially for something like this, especially if it's going to be how they display multiple image being uploaded and how that looks in the news feed. If you go to revisit old content, it's not normally in the news feed anymore with old content. So it most of the time does roll out though to past content. And
Okay.
the other, go
I
on.
was just going to say, the reason I was asking is because it'd be nice to be able to kind of go look and say, okay, now I know what it looks like, as opposed to creating the new thing and then finding out
That is true.
that it's there. So, okay. And then this other update.
Yeah, so right now when you upload a external link, it will pull up the image that the external link is going to with a little gray bar showing you're headed over to this website, socialmediaexaminer.com. So you are now going to see a smaller image with a larger gray bar next to it. It's going to take up basically less room in the news feed to display your external link, is what they're saying.
Okay.
And you can pay to feature your external link and get a bigger image back.
Okay. All right. All right.
So yes, that is now
feel like
turning into a paid feature.
yes. So they're being transparent, at least what you want there. So in that scenario, like based on the limited information we have about this right now, would you recommend maybe doing an image post and doing the link in the comments kind of thing?
Yes, or featuring it on your profile and just telling people to go over to your profile, or even saying visit my website above if you have one of those website links attached on your profile. There's a lot of ideas for how to get people to where you want them to go, but yeah, if you really want that big social sharing icon that goes with your blog, your newsletter, your image that you want them to click on that goes with that external link, you may have to pay for that in the future.
Okay. Just make sure it doesn't require 5 clicks to get to wherever you want to go, right? Like we want 3 clicks or less. That's the standard we're going for.
I think a lot of people have already adopted telling people to go to the comments for a link. So I think you can continue doing that.
Yeah, like down below, wink, wink.
A lot of people know how to do that now.
Yes, yeah, it's the consumer behavior has patterned after it, which is nice. All right, so some AI updates for LinkedIn here in just a second, but the weirdest update I think we've had in recent months has been this rollout of LinkedIn Games, video games essentially on LinkedIn, which apparently they're continuing with. So what's the latest around this that you can share with us?
Yeah, first I'm just going to mention the thinking behind this that I've seen come out from LinkedIn employees directly is seeing the success of the New York Times games and how much that brings traffic to the platform, and they end up seeing the news on the New York Times. So getting your news and getting people on the platform. So what I've noticed is LinkedIn is very much connecting the games to the news feature on LinkedIn News. If you notice on the upper right of your experience on your desktop, the games is now positioned right underneath the LinkedIn News. So that is a part of this process. And they also want to make the games accessible and allow people to talk about the games after playing the games. So creating a bit of a conversation or community aspect with these games that is not just being played and then you walk away, but that you talk about or brag about how fast you solved one of the games.
Yeah. And did I see they're also sort of adding a little bit of gamification FOMO, where it's like they'll show you how many days in a row you've played and things like that?
Yes, a game streak. And yes, I will just, if anyone wants to challenge me, but I like the Queen's game the most. That is the one I remember and I end up playing. But
okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to give me a challenge on which game they like on LinkedIn's games.
So when it comes to AI, the big thing that all the platforms are doing, and now we're seeing LinkedIn do this as well, is making sure to try and properly label things that are AI generated. And with some of them, they're removing some of the previous restrictions, but adapting new ones. So what's LinkedIn's approach to this as of right now in terms of AI generated content?
Yeah, it sounds like there's a source called C2PA that, there you go. It is helping to identify AI generated content to trace the source, authenticate, avoid misinformation. Especially I've seen news stories come out where I have to then go off of LinkedIn, Google it, and make sure that it is true. I wouldn't want to engage on content that isn't actually truly happening in the world.
Yeah.
And with AI, you can build so many things that look real, that are maybe newsworthy things happening. And you do have to authenticate what is actually true. So having that, I think, will help just consumers, anyone scrolling, and people who want to engage on trending topics, especially, they want to check that that is actually not AI generated. That's a real image happening on this planet.
Yeah. But they're using this third party organization to essentially, like, our stuff will be labeled automatically if it appears that it is AI generated.
Yes. And it sounds like they are adding notifications and also the ability for you to click that you want to report it as you think it is AI. So I think there might be a way to say, hey, this isn't AI, or this is, when it goes through this automation tool.
Okay. So you'll be able to, like, report it like, no, this was real.
Yeah.
This horse was riding a bicycle, or whatever it might be. Okay. I was thinking about all of this because the different platforms have been different. Like YouTube now says, hey, if it's AI generated and it's going to mislead somebody, just, you acknowledge it yourself. If you use ChatGPT to write your script, we don't care. There's of done it at that approach. But I was thinking historically, like, it was, once upon a time, obviously, people would just tell you something, and if they sounded truthful, you'd be like, okay, sounds true. And then we went into the, phones on our camera pics, or it didn't happen era. And now it's like, if somebody has a pic or a video, we're like, well, that's probably fake. Like, it's
I know, anything could be created now. And especially when you're in the world of business and having trust building type of conversations to make business happen.
Yeah.
Having some video come out about even a leader at your organization or something that would be untrue, that could be very risky for a brand.
Yeah, hugely so, hugely so. Okay. And then speaking of video, I want to ask you about this thing that's been rolling out, which is the dedicated short form video experience. First, it was a test. Now, more and more people seem to be getting it. I see people posting about it all the time. Have you gotten it yet? And if so, what are your impressions so far of this TikTok style video feed on LinkedIn?
Yes. Yeah, it is on my phone. So we can press at the very bottom, we can press that we want to just consume the video news feed and scroll through our experience. So it is pretty exciting. I mean, it is the way of the world we do like to consume. I think what the difference will be is, how will the creators use it, and will there be compelling content on it, or will it be dry or not as viral content that we see on other platforms like TikToks and Reels? And our experience will be based on the creators.
And so the stuff that you've watched so far, I don't know how long you've had it, but do you feel like, are you seeing the same people over and over again because it's not as many people creating yet? Or have you noticed anything like that?
I've definitely noticed some of the creators come over from other platforms and bring their viral content. So if it went viral somewhere else, they're bringing it over to LinkedIn, which then means I've seen it twice. So I honestly have scrolled past it. I mean, I am interested to hear what other people, especially if you're listening right now, would love to hear what you're thinking, and if you've had access to scroll it. If you're liking the content, if it makes you follow somebody. I think these are all interesting things, because I'm not sure if this is going to work for LinkedIn. I've gotten behind the scenes feedback from people I'm working with, and they haven't really been feeling like it's worth engaging on themselves and actually spending time to scroll and consume, because it's turning them just into consumers
instead of engaging. Yeah, that's an excellent point, because people do comment on these videos, obviously, but it's not as natural to have conversations unless it really, in a sense, it almost makes us have to level up our content to make somebody really feel something. Because if I'm scrolling the LinkedIn feed on desktop, and then I'm going to easily just be like, oh, congrats, or whatever. It's nothing. Or even just typing a couple of words on your phone in the feed, because you see the comments. But since it's all hidden, it's a totally different experience. You really have to feel like, oh, I'm so excited about this, or I'm so mad about this, or something.
Yeah, and
like
if I
that.
think about the mindset behavior of if I want to get on TikTok, maybe I want to be entertained or educated or laugh or something. Then I get on Instagram Reels and I want to maybe be inspired or follow somebody that I find influential. But if people in the consumer behavior on LinkedIn is I want to get on LinkedIn to get a job, I want to get an opportunity, I want to get business. I'm not sure if scrolling a video newsfeed for you gets you those things. That's why I'm definitely in the realm of is this going to work, LinkedIn? Time will tell.
Yeah, well, obviously LinkedIn stories came and went, and but I think with all of their emphasis on LinkedIn Learning, and
That
they've
is true.
talked recently about this, in the last couple of months about how we're going to start surfacing valuable content for months and years to come as long as it's still valuable. If somebody, for example, all of a sudden takes an interest in podcasting, you might see a podcast post from a year ago or 2 years ago, as long as people continue to find it valuable, of course. And so that's where I think some content, I don't know if you've seen some stuff so far that you were like, well, this is completely like, TikTok and Reels, it's people pranking their spouse. That would
Yeah,
feel out of
that is
place,
funny.
right?
Yeah,
On
I
LinkedIn.
haven't seen that yet.
Okay. Yes, as funny as they are, it would feel out of place a little bit on LinkedIn. But a lot of this educational tips, mindset, some of the things that makes it so tough to be.
I just I
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
realized somebody might be pranking their boss now instead. That's the
And there you go. That would be, like undercover boss style. That would probably actually do very well. So there's your content idea of the week. So, all right. Quick reminder, visit socialmediaexaminer.com/AI Explored to check out our newest show, AI Explored. And Judy, where can we discover more about you?
Head over to LinkedIn and connect with me. I'm JUDIFOX, and let me know what you think about this episode because I'd love some feedback on the conversations we just had.
Sounds great. All right. Until next time, may you be wise with